Crime Fighters, the searchlight on crime and criminality.
Hello viewers, it's another interesting edition of the program, Crime Fighters. On today's episode, we bring you the sizzling interview we had with the ebullient governor of one of the prominent states in the entity called Nigeria, Adamawa State to be precise, and sometimes also referred to as Land of Beauty. A gentleman to the core, a true servant of the masses, and advocate of the maxim, leadership by example. We're not talking about less a person than His Excellency, the two-time executive governor of Adamawa State, Boni Haruna. He bears his mind on the recent killings in the country, which had hitherto put fears into the minds of the populace, and what he is doing as the governor of Adamawa State to make the state free of crime and criminality. Your Excellency, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So, in the last couple of weeks, you've been shuttling Yola, Abuja to talk about crime, as it were. One of your colleagues in Benue State was actually a victim. What do you think is the way out of this high wave of crime?
Crime is a social problem. It's a product of the nature of the society, and I dare say that there's no society that is crime-free. The only problem is, or the only difference is the magnitude. You know, even some of the developed countries, there are even more crimes than you have in other countries, developing countries like Nigeria. At times when I go out of this country and I watch on television some of the heinous crimes in these developed countries, I flash back home and give thanks to God. But as I've said, it's not just the responsibility of the government alone. I always insisted that everybody has a responsibility to fight crime. I know of countries like Netherlands. Netherlands is a country where it is an offense for you to see a crime being committed and not reporting to the police. But here in Nigeria, you see somebody even being stabbed, you say that it's not your problem. You see there are people that know of criminals, that know of armed robbers in our midst, but they don't give a damn whether the police knows it or not. And I keep on saying that the police or the security agencies are not magicians. The capacity of any security agency or the police in any given society to deal with any crime situation depends on the power of information and how this information is managed. Even agencies like FBI, CIA are formidable because of their capacity to get information at all costs.
Your Excellency, are you giving a pat on the back of the police force that they've done so well in the face of all of these things that that they have to grapple with?
In the circumstances that they operate, I can say that the Nigerian police has done well and has the capacity to do better than its present situation. Nigerian police operates in a very difficult situation. Even the welfare. I used to go to the barracks of the police. You cannot expect the best from people that live in that kind of situation. Honestly, I thank God if I was not in the kind of position that I am and I had not gone through a process that has completely, or I had the capacity of removing me from being a police. Ordinarily, I wouldn't have been a policeman.
In the last meeting you all were in Abuja, the issue of proliferation of arms came in. And Your Excellency, you are in a state that has this landscape. You know, you travel through the very length and breadth of your states to get to other adjoining states of the country. And banditry, as it were, is very, very prominent around here. One, let me ask, do you feel threatened with this proliferation of arms? Your CP was a victim of it recently.
Yeah.
And if you do, what do you think is the way out?
It's a very difficult and a very complex situation because these arms are not acquired through their importation or through or there are even local productions that are going on. And I remember some years back when we arrested somebody, the source of supply was in the east, southeast, no, south, I think Calabar or Akwa Ibom. And they used to bring them in this orange sacks and bananas. And when he was arrested and even brought here, he told us that he doesn't know how many arms he has sold. And these arms were not imported arms, they are local arm production. And so it's part of the larger societal problem. And Nigerian problem is largely it's largely societal, and it's also largely it's largely, how do I put it? It's not something that you can really pin down to a particular cause. You know, it's a very complex one.
It is indeed, sir. Let's come back to Adamawa State. Let's leave the federal for now. The police in your state, how do you see it?
The police in Adamawa, I think they've done well. They are doing well, particularly under the leadership of Police Commissioner Hafiz. He's a very professional officer, very thorough, highly disciplined and well organized. I dare say that if Nigerian police has officers like Hafiz, from my 1 year experience working with him, I think the Nigerian police will be a better agency to work with and to always support. I have never regretted 1 minute of my working relationship with him.
Thank you.
So under his leadership, we've had for the past 1 year or so a more focused Nigerian police in Adamawa State. He doesn't compromise any standard, and I'm always at peace when I travel out and Hafiz is around. So I think the Nigerian police here for now. It cannot be. I cannot say of this some years back before he came, because we had average of almost yearly transfer of commissioners of police, but he has been able to stabilize the system.
You're right, Hafiz is an Interpol man, so we don't expect him to give us, we expect him to give you the best.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Your Excellency, a while ago when we were talking about the problems that we have as it relates to crime, you said our country, we have an enormous problem that we cannot really lay our fingers on what the cause is. And this takes me to the next question of the idle mind is the devil's workshop. You have a lot of graduates, you chunk out a lot of year from the universities and colleges. You also have secondary school people that passes out. Now, what has your administration done, Your Excellency, to ensure that these young people passing out of schools, and even those ones that are not privileged to go to school, are gainfully engaged?
I don't think even if you give everybody a job to do in this country, and in particular this state, it will eliminate the issue of crime. It wouldn't. Because even those that are gainfully employed in government have criminal tendencies. You cannot explain why a cashier should throw a figure in a salary voucher that he is preparing. That brings about inflated salary figure.
That's fraud.
So this is the point. It's not. I don't believe that it is when everybody is employed, then you will have a solution to crime. I don't believe it. The problem of this country is largely indiscipline. It's attitudinal. Why do you have problems even in the service? Why is it that the things are not working? Why is it that you pay people their salary? You don't see them in their offices. Why is it that people are not responsive to government directives? You tell people, you ask top placed officers and give them directive that within so period of time this thing should be done. Nobody responds. So it's a question of crime. I don't believe has largely anything to do with employment. You may have everybody employed.
Yeah,
you still have problem of crime.
Yeah, but sir, you are a father, you are a leader. What do you think is the way out of all of this?
It will not change.
So how do we go about it?
We have to appreciate the fact that as a people, we should operate within standard. I give you an example. A policeman stops you for this yellow fever to control traffic. He tells you that, look, stop, let these people pass. Simply because you're a big man, or you feel that you shouldn't stop, or you stop longer than the time you feel you should stop, you beat the traffic light, or you beat the directive of the policeman. Is that discipline? Is that discipline? This is attitudinal problem. It's indiscipline. And as long as we don't appreciate the fact that there is the need for us to operate within certain acceptable standards. Most of these European countries, or even some of these Arab countries that we go to, that you see, even in Saudi Arabia, when our people go and say, oh, the place is tough, they are rigid on law, on this and that. It is because they have accepted that there is a law in place. I just came out from my state executive council, and one of our resolutions was that we should warn that these petroleum or fuel hawkers and meat sellers or hawkers on the road shoulders should leave. The road shoulders are part of the road.
Exactly.
I
meant for pedestrians.
Yes. So if in the process there's a problem on the main road, you want to veer off, you see a missile, you hit him. It is not supposed to be a trading area. They know it. The law says that you should not drive any vehicle without learner's permit or driver's license. There is road safety code there for you to go obtain license. Yet you see people driving without driver's license. You catch somebody, he's a son to a permanent secretary or a commissioner, or So this is the point. There's indiscipline. The problem in this country is indiscipline. And as long as we don't accept to be disciplined and operate within acceptable standard that is obtained in other places, we will continue to have this problem. You can give everybody job.
Thank you very much. That's a very thoughtful talk that you just put across. I don't know how many tertiary institutions you have in Adamawa State, but I want to believe that as a state you have, and you have some federal institutions as well. Adamawa is one of our old states. That takes me to this issue of cultism. We know it's not prevalent in this part of our society. Of course, from where I come from, it's part of us. But then, it's believed that students would rather get involved in cultism, would rather get involved in anti-social activities. And this is because they have so much money, and this money are gotten through the senior citizens of this country. And nobody seems to be doing anything about it. Your Excellency, in your state, do you have such experience with students? If you don't, at a national level, what do you think is the way out?
I don't think we have it. For the past 4 years, getting to 5 years that I've been in this office, I've never, even through security reports, come across acts of cultism in our tertiary institutions. Of course, there are tendencies that border on maybe some other acts that but not cultism. But I do also know that in other places, it still boils down to discipline. It still boils down to control. It boils down to self-control. And we are not better exposed than the children of those outside. Some of us go outside to read, and you don't see these things in European countries or in other developed countries, or even some of these Arab countries. You may find problem of drugs, among youth.